Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video and another video regarding F1 esports. Now recently I actually tried to qualify in the second qualifying out of the 3 qualifying events, which was at Hungary. If you haven't seen it, then go watch the video guys by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. And in that event I think I finished 17th. Later on time would go on and I finished that event in P21, as you can see here looking at the previous events. Jono Otmir won the event and he's of course an official Renault esports F1 team driver, so not too bad, about 6,000 points behind him, and P21 in the world is not bad. I think we got top 1%, so yeah, I think nearly 3,000 people entered, so not too bad. And I actually didn't do that many. I think I did 9 attempts, or no more than 10 attempts in total. And this time we have a new event, which is the final one, and this one's a little bit different. Now we're going to jump into things here and have a little look. So I believe this one is with Lando Norris and it's at Monza, and you have to make sure he gets onto the podium. Currently you can see I've not done any attempts yet, and I'll do a couple of attempts. I think I'll do one with default setup, try and maximize that one, and then I'll move on to setup work, and then I'll try and maximize that kind of thing. That's kind of the process there. In terms of the leaderboard right now, John Otmir once again leads the way, but yeah, we're going to see where we can go. Monza's a tricky one because that's the track we're at, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I do think it's just one lap, and you'll see here, I think everyone's doing 110 because you're not actually overtaking or racing any cars, you're literally just doing a hot lap. So yeah, we're going to probably jump in. I'm going to maybe go like 108 first of all, just to get my feet wet and try out. In terms of the prizing for this event, you are going to get no prizes, just competition points, and hopefully I can get within the top 5%, which should be pretty easy for me, and score 1,500 points. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Something different. You guys really liked the last time, so drop a like if you're excited, and straight off the bat, let's jump into it. So we're going to go into the start event. You can see at the bottom the objective is to finish in 3rd position or higher. So we're going to have all the assists off, as always, as you can see here, and we're going to move into the race settings, and you can see here we've got flashbacks on. I'm going to turn those off to get more points, apart from main points on to get more points, and also race starts on manual. And AI driver level, we're going to go up to 108 for the first attempt, just to get, like I said, get our feet wet and do a bit of an experimental run. So there we go, settings done. We're now going to jump into it and we're going to see what this is like. This is currently live com. I'll probably post commentate the actual event because I need to concentrate and focus, but yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so here is the task for this event. So 2020 F1 Esports Series for the Italian Grand Prix. This is the final event, like I said before, so there'll be no more than this. So if you want to qualify, you've got 9 days to try and do this event. So it says, objective, finish in the 3rd position or higher. Qualifying event for the 2020 F1 Esports Series. Can Lando Norris take P3 in the 2019 Formula 1 Italian Grand Prix? This is a points-based event. Points will be awarded based on skill, speed, difficulty, and assist setting, with additional points awarded for clean racing. So once again, same thing as last time, and all we got to do is finish 3rd or higher. So we're going to jump into it with racing as Lando Norris. I'm not quite sure what the actual event is. I'll find out once I get into it, but I believe it's just a 1-lap thing. I think it's literally just a hot lap, if I'm not mistaken, but we'll find out. Let's jump into it and let's see what this has in store for us. Okay, so it wasn't actually a 1-lap event. I was just misled by a couple of videos I saw online.
Plus 1 lap of extra fuel target, plus 1.
It turns out this is actually a 6 to 7 lap event, and what you're doing is trying to get onto the podium as Lando Norris. And you'll see on the screen now, you're going to see plenty of my attempts, and this one was 106% AI, and we have to get to 3rd place. You can see in the mini-map, Hamilton's crossing the finish line right now, so that's a lot of a gap to make up on used soft tyres. And this was my first run. There was a few other runs in between where I didn't even manage to complete a lap. But you can see currently I was trying to understand how the track worked and trying to push the limits. And also I was running a default setup for this one just to understand where the limit was. And eventually we got to lap 49, and then eventually you'll see here penalty time. It begins already.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
And yeah, overall not ideal, not a good start.
You've been awarded a time penalty for that last incident.
Yep, and that was the start of quite a few penalties. It wasn't the only one. Over our multiple runs, I think I had about 25 attempts at this altogether, and you see that another corner cut once again, and then out of shape, and eventually I just gave up on this first run, and I had a few more goes at it, and then eventually this was actually another example of what to do. Eventually we'll get onto the good one. The best run will be at the end, and I'll commentate you guys all the way through that lap by lap with no cuts or interruptions. But you saw there again, cutting turn 1, that was quite a regular occurrence. Ascari as well can be a tricky one because you can cut both of these corners quite easily if you're not careful, and also on the exit as well. There's lots of different options, but on this run I wanted to stick with it because I wanted to try and get at least some form of a banker time, you know. And you can see here currently we're going to make the move on Verstappen here. We're going to go to the left hand side and overtake him with 2 laps, technically 3 laps to go really, if you include this lap. And we get up into 4th place, but in the process at turn 1 you can see here, this time we don't actually cut the corner for a change, which makes a big difference. But I wanted to get at least 1 banker time in to see you know, what the score would be and where we are in the leaderboard. You can see they crossed the line, setting a purple lap now with 2 laps to go in this race. Bottas though is a long way up the road, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I've seen people on 110 AI.
We've been awarded a time penalty. We'll go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Okay, some information on Bottas. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
And like I said, I was wondering how people were getting 110 AI maximum score, and then I realised, you know, how the hell are they catching Bottas? I don't get it. It's literally impossible.
Caution, caution.
And then I realised, and I saw when I got to lap 52, that Bottas actually has a DNF on lap 52, which makes sense, and that explains why the target is a podium. So it made a lot more sense in my head. I kept on restarting because I thought to myself I had to get 3rd place on merit, which was not happening, and I didn't know why, but now it makes sense. And my first attempt was not great.
Are you alright? Engine off, engine off.
It was a pretty damn spectacular crash against Bottas there on lap 52 as I tried to overtake him and I just left it a bit too late. But either way, I got an understanding of how it worked, and we did a few more goes on 106 to understand and try and maximise it. I started doing some setup work at this point, and you'll see here now on lap 48 we've already got a track extension to our name, and then I messed it up at the parabolic, and eventually I thought to myself, okay, you know what, I've got enough data, I know how this works, so we're going to increase the difficulty to 108, because obviously the objective is to hit Verstappen, you know, as late as possible, because we're going to get 3rd place given to us on a plate, so we can overtake Verstappen as late as need be, as long as we're on 110 or 18 or 108, whatever it may be. The objective is to just pass Verstappen, very simple. So on 108 I actually caught up to Verstappen on the 49th lap, and had a couple of purple sectors to my name. This time we're going to go around the outside into parabolic here, late on the brakes at the 50 metre. We'll not lock up, but we get the car slowed down. And also with all this practice, my setup work was getting better and better, and also my overall pace was getting quicker and quicker, and I was feeling more and more confident. You can see there I actually set a 22.0, which was pretty much quickest lap out of the entire event. Really, really good lap there. But you can see now on the next lap, towards the end of lap 50 here, we cut out Ascari once again, but we're going to continue on nonetheless to see if we can try and set a decent benchmark here as we now go on to lap 52, now down towards turn 1. We turn in a little bit too early and pick up a corner cut once again, and that's Monza for you, the fine margins. But then eventually lap 52, this time we avoid hitting Valtteri Bottas, and this time keeping our nose clean, and overall no more incidents I believe in this one as we go into Ascari, this time keeping our nose clean, trying to avoid a penalty if possible. Bit of oversteer on the exit, but overall not too bad, and then we would actually come through the final corner and this time actually get our first full score in. We've got 2 track extensions to our name / corner cuts, but we do cross the line and do the job. But of course corner cuts do reduce your score. And my first successful attempt, I believe this was like my 10th attempt, 11th attempt, it came on 108 on you know, a pretty okay run with a couple of corner cuts. So you can see that we did 169,000 points, and overall I needed to get that on the board just so I knew where I was. And at the time I believe I was like 60th, 65th in the world with this attempt. It wasn't spectacular, and after this I thought to myself, you know what, I feel confident I can push this a bit more. So I pushed it up to 110. We're going to max it out, and also I know there's more pace to give. Ultimately, the consistency around here is what you look for. You can see here, this was actually a fantastic run. I nailed every single lap, and we got 3rd place. But then on the very last lap, I binned it out of Ascari.
Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please.
And it was a shame because that run was absolutely fantastic. Literally every lap was perfect, and the tyres just fell away on the very last lap. But nonetheless, this was my best run, so let's stay on board for the entirety of this race, so to speak, and let's go all the way to lap 53. So straight away, there's lots of little tips and tricks around here to really find pace. Monza actually is all about finesse and precision because it's a special track.
Fuel target is +1. Faster engine modes are available.
So a few tips around here. Don't be scared of the curbs. The curbs are your friend, and ultimately they will give you a lot of lap time around the circuit where you run very low wings. Therefore you need to compromise having such low aero by abusing the curbs and making the track as wide as possible. So straight away you want to be pushing this. Your first lap is going to be pretty much your best lap, probably on par with the one when you overtake Verstappen and get his slipstream. So it's important to make this lap count. And you want to be roaming in the low, very low 122s in my opinion. If you can snatch a 21 or run in the higher 21s, that'd be fantastic, but that's kind of like esports pace in my opinion. So if you can run the low 22s, that'd be really, really good. I was a bit inconsistent on this run, but straight away, it was a good opening lap, and I believe we're on course here for a 22-1, and we're going to smash the purple lap straight away. There you go. Sorry, 22-7, my mistake, but you can get as low as a 22-1. And I believe this lap right now, because you get full control, this is the lap you want in terms of your quickest lap. The first one you can do pretty well, probably better than I did, because you get control halfway down the pit straight, so it's not perfect. But this time on this lap, you can definitely gain control. Rich mix wise, I used it on the straights pretty much for the majority of the racetrack, with the exception of Sector 2, where you can probably get away with not running the rich mix. It'd also be a place where I'd save my ERS if necessary, because again, you can get away with it, especially for the Lesmos, because the run between 1 and 2 is so short, as you can see here, that you don't really lose any time. So yeah, overall, just try and keep your mistakes to a minimum. Make sure you really use the curbs, and then on the next lap we'll get into some gearing, but straight away, for example, here at Ascari, again, you want to go down to standard if you can. Also run low. You've got to really mess around with ERS deployment to really maximise. You can see here we're nearly half a second up on this lap. Sebastian Vettel sets the pace there over 22.7, but we should be on course to absolutely smash that. And I believe this lap is actually a 22.1 or a 22.2, and you want to try and achieve that pace and try and maintain that every lap. It's almost impossible, but you know, there's a lot of people out there better than me. I'm just a guy that does F1 videos. So yeah, you can see they're across the line, 22.1, and that's kind of like the pace you want to do. My best lap, my entire best lap, I managed to pull off as a 22.0, I believe, on like 108 or something. But yeah, 22.1 is where we're at, and visibly you can see how much we're catching Verstappen here. So good progress.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
So now is when you start to focus and also try and use Verstappen tactically, because it's a good chance to improve their lap time whilst also saving fuel in ERS. So my target is to pretty much overtake him on the pit straight next time round, because that's where you want to hit him, have no time loss, and stay at a safe distance so that you don't get much dirty air. You can see here I'm not really suffering that badly through the Lesmos, and so far it's going pretty damn well. Make sure you carry the momentum. If you can get DRS there onto this back straight, that would be perfect. I'd just miss out, but if you can pull it off and just nick it onto the back straight, that would really help you out in terms of your overall time. As we now go down towards Ascari, because I want to get within 1 second, I have to really throw the car in and try to cut. It's very easy to get minor cut extensions. You saw my previous attempts, if you turn in too early or take the right hand a little bit too early midway through Ascari. But at this point we're getting a nice slipstream and we are within range. We're going to have to go pretty late on the brakes here to really make sure we close that gap and take an early apex, just to really make sure we get close to Verstappen, because the McLaren isn't a Ferrari, it's not a Mercedes, it's not the quickest car on the straight, so you have to really close that deficit. But here we go, we've done enough as we now open up the DRS here on the pit straight. Try and stay to the inside. I find it was the better line, because that way Verstappen won't try and contest the brake zone with you. And then make sure you try and get the car so that don't let the overspeed catch you out. I actually got a little bit deep on the brakes, but I managed to rotate the car using the gears in a tactical way, to the point where I didn't really lose much time. And make sure you also get a good exit as well, so Verstappen doesn't re-challenge.
We expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
So Verstappen doesn't re-challenge down towards this next corner here. You can see that we're actually going faster in Sector 1. And if I was able to hold this lap together, we could definitely have a 21.9. But at this point, the tyres you can start to feel are fading already. And it's all about just damage limitation and trying to avoid making any mistakes. That's the big factor here. Mistakes do hurt you quite badly. And you want to try and keep it all nice and clean and keep it together here. So at this point, the target for the podium is done, because Bottas is going to retire in 2 laps time. So again, it's all about that consistency. We're still 2 tenths up now on this lap, so we're looking pretty good for that 21.9 if we can pull that out the bag with one more sector to go here. You can see Verstappen behind, he's already out of the RS range, so the pace is good. And again, it's all about consistency here at the Parabolica. Braking at the 50 meter board every single lap worked out beautifully for me, and try to get the power down as soon as you dare. And let's see if this lap is actually going to be an improvement on our previous best as we come up to the line. Is it better?
We advise moving to mix 2, fuel to mix 2.
And yes, it is a 21.9. That's what I'm talking about, and that's the kind of lap times you need to achieve. And like I said before, you're going to get 1 good lap in clean air, and then you might have a second chance with Verstappen and his slipstream to try and improve. But at this point, I know I'm not going to beat that lap anymore, because I don't have any slipstream, so it's all about trying to get as close to that lap as possible. And this is when you really start to earn your money. You've done the overtake on Verstappen, you've done the hard work, so to speak, and now it gets even harder because you have to keep pushing.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
And also, not just that, you've got to make no mistakes. It's almost like you've actually got to push even harder now because you've got past Verstappen, and this is when you really start to make the difference compared to other people around the world and making up your lap time. You know, the tyres are wearing out, the fuel's burning away, the ERS is getting consumed, and this is when you really make the difference. And straight away, a few more tips. For example, in Ascari, I found that taking a late apex and not throwing it in there, you kind of turn in and focus on your exit worked out better for me. And try and keep the wheel nice and straight over the curb on the exit there, because that's a very bumpy curb and you can easily pick up some oversteer. Again, into Parabolica, look for the 50-meter board as your reference just after the AstroTurf on the left-hand side finishes, and use fourth gear if necessary for some rotation. And like I said, always try to get the power down as early as you dare. Keep a nice tight line if possible. It will gain you that extra bit of time. And again, another consistent lap time there with a 22.1. That is, I was at 22.7. I can't quite tell on my screen, but still good pace. Now for turn 1, you want to brake just before the 100-meter ball, down to third gear for the first one, and then pick up second gear just after, but don't go all the way down to second straight away. You will lose the back end. You have to
They seem to have an issue.
You have to be progressive with your downshift, so go all the way down to third and then go down to second once you're at the apex to not lose the back end on the braking. Now for this one, you want to brake just after the 100-meter board, really take a massive chunk out of that first curve. In this case, I took a little bit too much and I got a track extension. Ultimately, it was my only cut/extension in this attempt. I kept on trying after this, but I couldn't get a clean lap in, so I kind of just gave up. But I think if you get a clean run in, that's absolutely fantastic. But you want to really make sure you take a big chunk out of that inside curve as we overtake Valtteri Bottas here. Don't even chance of picking up a slipstream because you could easily get hit or have some contact like I did before, because Bottas could swerve. But we take a fantastic line there for Ascari, really making up for lost time. And yeah, like I said, all lap long, it's all about having a good setup so you can ride the curbs, because that's where the lap time really is around here if you want to really make the difference and get into the, the upper echelon. This attempt at the time got me to the top 1%. I recorded this video about 5 days ago. It's actually the day that the Hubert tragedy happened, so it was meant to go up that day. I wasn't able to get the video up, so I've delayed it until today, so I'm not really sure where I am right now in terms of the Royal rankings. But yeah, last lap of the race, and again, you've got to stay focused. You can't give up. You've got to keep pushing. You can't just back off because it's the last lap. You've got to stay on it, because this lap's more important than any of the others, because your tyres are wearing out, your fuel's now pretty much gone, and other people around the world might start backing off at this point. So this is when you're going to make the difference and really find the lap time. So again, this one, you want to break out the 100-meter ball, trying to cut the corner, but take a big chunk out of the first curb to really open up the right. And again, just throw the car over. The exit there, you can actually go quite wide because the curb's is a bit higher up than the gravel, so you won't get a wheel on the gravel even if you run wide. And then again, through the Lesmos. This second one's quite interesting. You've got to really throw the car in there early.
And a lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
Don't be scared to tap the inside kind of green tarmac, because that's where you want to be. There's a lot more time to gain than running just partially into the apex. You want to really get all over that curb. A purple middle sector here on the last lap, really going strong and ending on a flurry here as Hamilton is in P3. Vettel wins it, so I'm presuming we've got Verstappen, or actually no, sorry, Hamilton's P2, so we're P3, never mind, forget that. So here we go then into Parabolica one last time again, throw it in at the 50-meter ball. A little bit of a lock-up, we just hold on to it and up to the line, give it everything you got, used up the last bit of fuel in ERS, up to the line, and that is going to be my best attempt. Not 100% clean, we had that one corner cut, of course. Had that not happened, I think my attempt would have been a lot better. But overall, I can't complain, and that was my best effort. And I had a few more goes after this, and I still couldn't get it. That was, you could say I peaked really at that one. And I was annoyed that I made that one mistake, because it made a big difference, a really big difference, as you see in a minute, to my final score once we analyse it in the leaderboards. But yeah, overall, there's the podium. Challenge successful as we get the podium with Lando Norris, with Hamilton in second, and Sebastian Vettel P1. And here we have the final results then. So you can see on screen, we've got the finishes on the left, and then we have my exact score with all the details on screen. And compared to my previous attempt, which was 169,000, this time with 110 AI and getting only one corner cut, we got 176,000, which was much better. And yeah, those are all the little details on screen with all the little scores and nuances. And yeah, I found also with the race time, if you can get within 74 minutes, which is the time on the top right where Vettel is, that's going to make a big difference as well. And yeah, this challenge is very important about pushing, but I also found out afterwards that that little corner cut or track extend is actually very painful, and it severely hurts your score. So overall, those are the results, and there is the exact score broken down in detail. But we're now going to jump into leaderboard to see where this effort put me in the world rankings, and also we're going to see a few interesting revelations and a few more details. So let's jump into the post-screen leaderboard. Let's see how that effort stacked up against the rest of the world in this esports event. Okay, so here we are then on the leaderboard, and I tried my absolute best with that one. I couldn't get a clean run. I'm trying my best, and I think had I not had that little incident with that little track extension warning, I think I could have done better, and the score could have been a bit higher. I don't think much more higher. I don't think I could have cracked into the top 10, put it that way. But I'm happy with overall because my pace was great. I got into the 73s, which is something not many people do. You can see on screen. Only the top 10, the top 11, top 12. So there you go, top 12 actually have 73. So I've joined that exclusive club, and you can see there, pretty much if I hadn't got that extension, I would have been in the top 12. I would say that's kind of where I would have been. And yeah, overall, really happy with it, and no complaints really. If we look at the first one, can we see? No, we can't really see lap time, so I can't really compare. But yeah, I think if I'd got that spot on, I think top 12 would have been possible. I'm still within the top 1% of the world. There's currently 1,600 entries. There's still 9 days to go, so by all means, guys, give it a go and try your best, and let me know how you got on. I'm on PC, so yeah, there's my result, and let me know if you can beat it. But overall, very happy that one. The pace was really, really good, and yeah, I'm happy that I've gone to the 73-minute mark. That's what I was aiming for, and I've got no complaints with that at all. So yeah, really happy that one. And it seems like this event is very heavy in terms of pace. So you can go quicker and quicker, then you're gonna go higher. You saw how badly one mistake punished me because it pushes me down about 10 places compared to where I should be, but yeah, I think my consistency wasn't there with the lap times. I could have done a little bit better in each lap. I think if you can keep every single lap below a 22.5 and then maybe even a 22.4 and then have a couple of 21s, then that's ideal. So yeah, overall, guys, that was my attempt at trying to beat the esports event and try and get into there. But yeah, P23, not as good as last time. I was much better at Hungary last time. This one took me a lot more attempts as well. But Italy, not Monaco. I don't know why I was saying Monaco, but Italy is a specialist track. You know, it's all about those fine margins, all those little millimeters and milliseconds, and that's what's going to make the difference. But guys, if you did enjoy this video, drop a like and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 and also MotoGP content, and turn on notifications to not miss any videos from me. And finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.